My dad just got it. I didn't think he was going to get it. Tampa Tony, shout out Tampa Tony, he's probably watching. He was for the longest was not going to get the vaccine, but then I just convinced him to get it, dude. He was the guy who was literally, when he was living in New York in March and April of 2020, he was 75 years old, asthma, diabetes, and a heart condition. Basically everything COVID wants to eat, this guy had in his body, and he was taking public transportation in New York City wearing the mask on his ear. He wouldn't put it over his face. And I'm like, Dad, can you please put the mask on your face? And he's like, oh, I didn't know I had a gay son. I'm like, what does that even mean, dude? What does that even mean? That's exactly what he said to me. I was like, there's no way, what does that mean? But now I finally got him to take the vaccine, because I was like, if you take the vaccine, the Yankees' chance of winning the World Series goes up. He's like, all right, give it to me.
By the way, I feel like your dad is probably like the poster child for the persona that continues to embrace the ability to say gay and call people like that. Take that out of context.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. First of all, one of my dad's favorite people in the world is T.T. Jerry. When T.T. Jerry got out of prison, my dad was there with open arms. See, the thing is with my dad and people like my father's group, and it's just because you have somebody like my dad who was born in the 70s, who's in his 70s, or somebody like my grandpa who's 99 years old. My grandpa's still alive to this day, 99. He still to this day won't eat sushi because he thinks the Japanese are the enemy. So it's like, you know what I mean? But so that guy and that's why I love when people like, oh, it's not about you getting COVID. What if you give it to your grandparents? I'm like, my grandparents are racist. Who cares, dude? I mean, let this guy go out with a fever. You know what I mean? So sorry.
But it is so true.
But my point is, like, you got old people like that, like my dad and my grandpa on this planet, and then you have people, you know, who are, 15 years old, who get their news from TikTok, and they're both existing, and they're both right. I think they're both right from how they see the world, you know, like, not that, you know, like the older people are going to go away, they're going to start to die, and the newer people will, you know, start to populate. So I think, like, things are getting so much better. They're getting so much better, but like, people want results right away. But I just think never in history have we had such a grand, you know, such a far spectrum of differences of opinions in like the history of our planet, where you have, I mean, they're living on the same block. People who, you know, like one guy won't use chopsticks, and the kid, you know, is white, born and raised in Queens, but identifies as a Japanese woman. Like, that's just what it is.
That lives in Japan.
That lives in Japan, right. But they've never, you know what I mean? But all they've done is play Hello Kitty, and they've never left their block. But you have to be like, oh, you know, you have to bow to them. Even though they're, you know, so that's just what it is, because the rules they've changed. So I think we'll get there as a society, but, you know, it's little by little. But thank God my dad's got the vaccine now, and so far it hasn't made him gay, because that's what he was worried about. Here's an example of my father. My dad always has like the right intention, but the wrong move. Right. So when Hurricane Sandy happened, like 2012 in New York City, like ravaged, destroyed.
Crazy.
Staten Island and Brooklyn, whatever. It was like bad. So my father lived a little bit inland on Staten Island, and his house didn't get damaged at all. But the people who lived on the shore, mostly a Mexican community, they got destroyed. Mexican, Puerto Rican, Latino community, their houses got destroyed. They were living in like bungalows or whatever. My dad, every day for 2 weeks, rented a U-Haul truck and would go down and help the families out, take the kids to school, whatever they needed. Even one family he let stay in the house for 3 weeks while they were getting everything, you know, a Mexican family, while they were getting their house and their furniture and all that sort of. My dad let them stay in the house. They were living in my father's house for free. He was like, he's helping this family. He didn't know them an hour ago. He's like, you're going to stay with me. But so that's an amazing act. But with the way my dad is, you know, like the guy who, when I went go visit them, you know, the patriarch of the family's name was Jose. My dad would call him Juan. He'd be like, oh, hide the silverware, like all old school dad jokes. But the actions of my father, because that's the difference. Is like, what did we hear all the time as kids? Actions speak louder than words. My mom was like, Christopher, your actions will speak louder than your words. But now all of a sudden, his words speak louder than actions. Absolutely. It just flipped. Absolutely. And I'm just like, what is this? When did this happen? It's just now it's the words. You could be the greatest guy in the world. You say, or girl, or they be. You say one wrong thing, you're done. Even though your actions are so much better than the canceling people who are canceling for words. They're all pieces of shit.
They've never done shit.
You know what a fucking scumbag you have to be to fucking want to ruin somebody else's life for bullshit? Do you know how sick and sad you have to be? Yeah, dude. So you got to just deal with it.